Back in studio, Tara Richter, Richter Publishing. Welcome back in, ma'am.
Thanks. Excited to be here. Today, we're going to talk about how to become a #1 Amazon bestseller.
Love it. Love it. A good way to leverage the opportunity to write your own book and sit down with Tara and her team and put together your thoughts on paper. Have you ever thought about writing a book? Well, hey, this show's for you. We're going to tell you a little bit more detail on how easy you can do that and how you can make it. Let's talk a little bit about how to become a #1 best-selling author, Amazon best-selling author with Tara Richter. Welcome back in.
Thanks for having me. So yeah, a lot of people want to write and publish a book, but it's awesome to have your book become a bestseller and a #1 bestseller at that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the two differences because some people don't understand the difference between an Amazon bestseller and a New York Times bestseller. So basically, to become a New York Times bestseller, first you have to have your books in the bookstore. And then you have to have mass amount of people going to the bookstore to buy the books. And they have to buy the books, like more quantities of the book than any other author at a certain given point in time, So that is a little bit easier for people to achieve if they're famous. Because, obviously, like the one thing about having the books in the bookstore is that nobody's going to go and buy your book if they don't know that it's there, if they don't know who you are. Because, for one thing, the bookstores are going out of business. And the ones that are there, there's thousands of books in the bookstore.
Yeah.
So how's your little book going to stand out being filed away, in a nonfiction real estate area? So so if you're famous, like say you're Rachel Ray and you release a book and just talking about it on her cooking show, people are going to run and buy the book. So that's really how you become a New York Times bestseller. Now, on the other end of it with Amazon, being like the next big marketplace for books, it's all online.
Right.
So it's a little bit easier to achieve because it's really just an algorithm. It's the same as a New York Times bestseller that you do have to outsell any other book, but in your listed category at any given point in time. So if you go to Amazon and you look, across the top of the tabs, on the book section, there's bestsellers. And then if you tab down on the left-hand side, there's probably about maybe like 80 categories.
Wow.
There's a lot when you kind of drill down. So one of the things that we do for authors, if they so choose to do the bestseller campaign that we have available to make them a bestseller, is that when I'm listing the book, I'm looking at the category when we publish to see who else is in that category and if we can outsell them. Mm-hmm. So there's a science behind it. But then basically it's kind of like I tell people it's like going to Vegas with a plan. I know the algorithm, I know how it works, but yet it's never a guarantee because you can only see the top 100 books that are the bestsellers in that category. So, if you don't want to go into a category that you're going to compete against like Steve Jobs,
right.
memoir, like you're just not going to outsell Steve Jobs. So that's kind of the thing that we do when we're looking to publish the book is, based on the content and what the book is about, I'll look at the different categories and see who else is in there. If it's a bunch of nobodies, that's the top 100, then we can probably outsell them. But so, with my one author, Karen Mertez with Plaintiff 101, mm-hmm. And we have 9 bestsellers, but this was the only book that we got to become #1. And since her book is about a 4-year litigation process, we had it in the law category. And funny enough, I didn't even really look and see that John Grisham was in the category. Even though his is fiction and this is not fiction, it's still in the same, law type category because he writes, fiction stories about law. So when we released the Amazon bestseller campaign on September 15th, and the other funny thing is like once you publish the book and you release it, Amazon does not tell when you hit at all. They don't send you an email. They're not like, hey, guess what? You hit #1 or even just Amazon at all. So we, do this huge marketing campaign. We do Facebook ads. We do email blasts. We do like this huge campaign to push it out. And then it's a waiting game. You literally sit and you have to refresh the freaking category like every hour.
See if your book's getting up there. Just like,
yes.
come on. It grew.
Yeah, and then you got to flip through all the pages to see if you hit. Because even if you hit 99, you're still a bestseller. And then you can use that and, for marketing and everything after the fact. So you have to, and they update every hour. So what we did is, and of course, the day that we release this, I have a speaking engagement in Miami. So we released it in the morning. And then I pack up, I'm driving down. I'm literally like stopping at like every freaking McDonald's to get Wi-Fi. Because like I also can't see it on my phone. Like you have to have a laptop. You have to like see it on the desktop. And I'm refreshing. It's not there. And then, I get to Miami. I get my hotel room. I'm like getting dinner. By this time, the author calls me. It had been like 10 hours. And she's like, it didn't hit. She's like, oh my God, it didn't hit. And I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, no, just wait. I'm like, have faith. And then finally, 11 o'clock in my hotel room, I hit the refresh button and boom, she was number 1.
Wow.
And we pushed John Grisham down to number 3.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. So that's the thing. Nobody tells you when you hit. They just refresh their stats, and then they don't tell you where you are. And then you have to sit there and constantly, follow it to see where you're at because, she sold 355 copies the first day. And then what happens is once it hits bestseller, then we put the sticker on it, then we re-advertise it, and then more people go back and buy it because now it's a bestseller.
Love it. Yeah, you take that screenshot, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I was screenshotting that. Then, like, we're basically, like, popping bottles of champagne. We're jumping on the hotel beds. It's like, oh, my God, I can't believe we hit. And we hit number 1.
Love it.
And pushed John Grisham down. So it's pretty awesome.
So it's an overall strategy. It's much like you're going into a football game, to use that quarterback analogy. You're making sure your special teams, everything's coordinated properly. So talk a little bit about that, maybe.
Well, it's, obviously it's the whole point, like I said, of like choosing the proper category so we can outsell the other authors in the category. It's also about, the cover design of the book, the title of the book. There's so many different aspects, because when people are writing a book, it's their baby. They're very emotionally connected to it. But when I come in, I'm looking at it from a marketing standpoint. So there's some books where like the title, I'm like, that's not going to cut it. Or the cover of the book isn't going to cut it. For example, another one of our bestsellers was about breast cancer. She was a breast cancer survivor. She blogged 5 years over her, going through the chemo and everything. And her blog was called Cure Girl. And, it sounds all cute and fuzzy and warm. But then when you read the book, she had this really kind of slapstick Seinfeld type humor. And I'm like, no, this is not cute and fuzzy and, and like, this is different. I'm like, what you went through is pink hell. And that's what we're going to call the book.
Pink Hell.
Yeah, so we called it Pink Hell, Breast Cancer Sucks. And I didn't bring that one with me today, but when I designed the cover of it, it's black and it has pink flames. And even the title is like in flames. So when we released that, obviously also timely right before October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, when you looked at that in the category, everybody else's book was cute and fuzzy and warm. And it's like, oh, you can make it through it. You can do this. It's like, no, this is a book that says, hey, cancer sucks. It's not fun. Nobody likes having cancer. And so her book really popped and stood out. And I think that's another reason why hers become a bestseller, because it stood out from the millions of other books out on Amazon. Yeah,
that's great. That gives a good picture to the listener out there. And if you're listening on the radio, of course, you can. And check us out on our website as well. You can stream the show live so you can see the pictures. Tara's holding up the copy of that book as well. And if you're watching this on our website, realestateradio.tampa.com, just click on the live stream. You can see all these shows. Check out our repurposed opportunities as well and some of our previous shows. But when we come back, we're going to jump into our Ask the QB segment where we're going to take your questions from social media. And stay tuned. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show and realestateradio.tampa.com. Also in studio as well as Tara Richter Publishing as well. Very respected in her line as well, helping people bring their story to life, writing books and becoming a published author, which we're real happy to say we're published at this point and working on our second book now. So let's go ahead and turn it over to Connor here for our Ask the REQB segment.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Brandon. And the first question is going to come for Tara, and this is coming from Sam off of realestateradio.tampa.com. And Sam asks, I want to grow my business, and I've heard that writing a book helps. But in the age of technology and visual media that we live in today, aren't books a little bit outdated?
Well, it's funny because, I just talked about how the bookstores are going out of business. However, the books in the stores are not. So, people still like to have a paperback book with them. And with the technology, all of our books are also published on Kindle, Nook, iBooks, and we also have audiobook options as well. And, the cool thing is about as soon as you publish a book, if it's nonfiction, you are considered an expert in your industry. So a lot of my authors, they actually carry the book with them as their calling card. They'll give it away for free in order to get business, instead of handing out a business card, because, wholesale cost, your book's going to be like $3 out of your pocket. And the thing is that a person is not going to throw a book away. They may throw your business card away, but they're not going to throw a book away.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm holding up our book that we just completed, and it's on Amazon as well and all that good stuff. But yeah, you're right on point. What I do is when I'm meeting a listing appointment, I'm looking to list their property. Could be a $500,000, $1 million property. And instead of handing out a business card, I'll say, hey, here's a copy of my book. It's a consumer advocate-based program, and we're all about helping. So there's a lot of topics that are covered in this book. So yeah, right from the get-go, it's going to put you on that pedestal, and you're going to be seen as an authoritative expert because you've taken the time not only to sit down and write a book, but especially our angle is that we're consumer advocates. We have a moral obligation to help consumers avoid commission-based advice and all that commission breath that's floating around out there.
Absolutely, because in this day and age, it's all about publishing everything you know in a book, and then you give it to your potential client. They can read it. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to go do it themselves.
Right.
Then they're just going to hire you because you have all the information.
Yeah, exactly. And also taking that a step further, a lot of these information marketers, these guys that are going around on the speaking tours and getting on stages, they sell from the platform. A lot of their money is made from selling the book and the information products back at the table in the back of the room. Hurry back. There's only a limited amount left.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's a highly leverageable opportunity. You sit down, maybe talk a little bit about the process as well, Tara, a little bit, what if someone says, hey, yeah, I'd love to write my book. They raise their hand, they call you up, maybe give the client kind of an overview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a few different packages. We can actually write the book for the author where we sit down during an intense 3 to 4 hour interview and actually pull all the information out of their head. It goes to our editorial staff, and we give them back a rough draft in 2 weeks, which you're going to experience here soon. Yep. So then you can talk and share your experience about that. Then we have packages where if the author wants to write the book themselves and then they give us a rough draft, then we can go through, edit, clean it up, and then publish it. And then, our least inexpensive package is where the author writes the book themselves. They have their own editors go and clean it up. We get a ready-to-go manuscript, and we format and publish on distribution channels all over the world. So the nice thing is we have the different options because obviously budget is a concern. So, our lowest package starts at $125 a month.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. Kind of give you the overview there. If you're a business owner out there, if you're thinking about this, or maybe you retired and you've got some great stories from the military or whatever your passion was, sports or baseball, different things. What a cool way to leave that legacy for your grandkids. Because I think that's part of what's a little bit missing right now. We see polarization in politics. We see the divorce rate above 50% now. I'm kind of going down a little bunny trail here, but just in general, where we're at with society, it seems like there's less respect in society. There's less, but think about that. So, reaching out to your grandparents and having them write a book, passing down their morals and values and what they've seen in their lifetime, that would be a cool idea to have as well. It
is, and I've actually done other shows exactly on this topic about leaving your legacy of writing a memoir. Everybody should have a memoir published before they pass away, just for that exact reason, because not everyone knows what happened in grandma or grandpa's life. And we just had an instance where my cousin, his son, is doing, a genealogy project, and they were contacting my mother because she wrote a thesis on that when she was back in school, and they wanted all the info. And I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if Grandma and Grandpa had a book? Because we could just go and buy it on Amazon.
Yep.
And then everything would be there. And the cool thing is that once you pass away, your book is there forever.
Yeah.
The royalties are then passed on to your kids and your grandkids. The book will always be published. So that's something that isn't taken down unless somebody wants us to. It will live on way after you pass away.
Great point. I just sat down with Jerry Slutsky. He's our estate planning partner, probate attorney here. I went through all the paperwork, and I tell you, it's something about putting your pen to the paper and saying, do not resuscitate, if you're in that state. So these, you think about these types of things, and what a great point. You write the book, you have that opportunity to leave that legacy, and you're teaching your grandkids' kids, and you're not necessarily there, but as long as they are, kind of reading that, what a way to leave a legacy.
Absolutely. And we're actually publishing Jerry's book here soon, too.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. Jerry Slutsky, great estate planning partner and a long time. All right. And so let's go ahead, and now we're going to go ahead and do our Tell Me Something Good. This segment is for, all against the mainstream media, all the negativity and sensationalism that you find out there now. It seems every channel you turn on, they're tracking some ISIS terrorist or talking about Kim Kardashian. So we want to be different. We want to bring you this Tell Me Something Good segment here each week.
Tell me something good.
Tara, Richter.
So last Saturday, my author I've been talking about, Kira Mertez, she has a charity called Fulfill Your Destiny, which all the proceeds of her book go to help people that were victims suffering severe brain damage. And last Saturday, my company was a sponsor with a lot of other companies in the local area, where the money we donated went to actually buy a car for a lady who didn't have a car for 5 years. And in order to get a promotion at work, she needed a vehicle. And so it was really cool. It was Wheels for Success that actually gave her a car, which was super awesome to be part of that. And then also during the charity event, I was given an award, which is completely unexpected. I didn't even know I was up for one. But Karen awarded me a Hero Award, which is for Hands Eagerly Reaching Out, which basically is companies that help Plaintiff 101 and Fulfill Your Destiny achieve their goal of becoming a #1 Amazon bestseller.
Awesome. Congrats. Yeah.
Thank you.
The vehicle is so important with the story you told. I mean, we're not in that metropolitan area where you can just jump on a subway car, that type of thing. So that's an awesome charity.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Tell me something good. All right. So now what we're going to do, we're going to enter our lightning round. All right. This is top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Tara Richter, what's your consumer advocate tip?
Well, the one thing I want to tell people is when you're looking for any publishing house to publish your book, you want to ask them if they have marketing packages available. Because with a lot of traditional publishing, they will actually come to you and be like, what's your marketing plan for your book? And most people have no idea how to market a book.
Right.
So, we have marketing plans for our authors. It's all a la carte. You pay for what you need or what you can afford. But you want to make sure that the publishing house has some way to market the book, because just having it out there, you need to push it constantly to get the sales. Right.
Yeah. That's so important because it's more of a comprehensive strategy, especially in this Facebook, Instagram world. There's some things you can do there to, pay to promote the post and some of those things that are strategically going to position you. One of the ideas I like as well is partnering up with other authors and having these big events, book signing events, and things of that nature as well.
Exactly, where we have our annual author award ceremony, which your second book will be ready for.
Cool.
In October. So that one's going to be huge. We're probably going to have about 20 authors signed up for it this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. We'll have to stay tuned on the details for that.
Yep.
Awesome. Tara, parting words of advice?
Well, actually, I'd like to give a free giveaway for any of the listeners. I have free resources on my website. We have the book outline, we have a writing calendar, and we also just uploaded some templates that we use to format the book. So if someone's writing during that process, they can actually use our already formatted templates to copy and paste their words into. So they can just go to my website at richterpublishing.com/resources, and there's a bunch of free information there for them.
Very cool. That's richterpublishing.com, RICHTER publishing.com/resources. So yeah, excellent resource there. Thanks so much for listening in, checking out our websites, our social medias, and check us out same time and place. And please consider making a random act of kindness.